Robin was the first teen sidekick in DC Comics. He's almost as old as the character of Batman, and almost as essential to the Bat family. And even though a number of people have died in the Robin uniform, they usually do come back to life sooner or later because the Robin characters are that important. And the point being that the Robin persona and the characters who've worn the costume are a core part of the Bat family. And this video is going to go over the 5 best times that Robin has committed murder. Now, to qualify for this list, the character has to have been Batman's Robin at one point, and they don't have to have been wearing the Robin costume when they actually committed the murder, they just have to have worn it before. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Number 5. The Joker's daughter. Whenever a comic book hero travels to the future, it's always a dystopian world in which the hero and their team have turned evil, and usually have conquered or control a large part of the world. And the Teen Titans comic was no different. When the Teen Titans come to their future, they meet their future selves, and their future selves are the bad guys, who execute and torture criminals in a twisted sense of justice. The legacy sidekicks have now taken on the roles of their mentors, and Superboy is now Superman, and takes close counsel with Lex Luthor, and tortures Deathstroke by using his heat vision to fry off one of his arms. Superman does this because Tim Drake, who is now Batman, tells him to. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Batman has been systematically killing off the Bat family rogues gallery, and it's these and his most recent kill that come in at number 5. Tim Drake has the gun that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne's parents, and with it he has killed Penguin, Two-Face, the Riddler, Joker, and presumably the rest of Batman's rogues gallery as well. And his latest kill is to execute the Joker's daughter, who isn't actually the daughter of the Joker, she just calls herself that. Tim Drake believes that killing criminals is the only way to stop them, and that he is redeeming a weapon of evil by using this particular gun to get rid of the bad guys. Needless to say, this horrifies the young Tim Drake, along with the rest of the Teen Titans. Though it's actually a pretty awesome comic story arc, and if you haven't already given it a read, I do suggest reading it because it's well worth it, and it would be fantastic if they made a Teen Titans movie based on this comic book arc. And this is a very important kill in Tim Drake's life, as the Teen Titans were thinking of disbanding when they went back to the present. But they're told that the only way to stop themselves from turning evil is to stay together, because it's the Teen Titans splitting that turned them into the bad guys. So it was a pivotal point in the Teen Titans history and in Tim Drake's life in the comics. Number 4. The Spook. Despite the fact that Damian Wayne hasn't even hit puberty yet, he has still managed to kill quite a lot of people. Though considering he was raised by the League of Assassins to be the ultimate warrior, this isn't really that surprising. And though there are a lot of his murders to choose from, the one that makes this list is when he kills the Spook. Now this happens shortly after Batman learns of Damian Wayne's existence, and he comes home with him to the Wayne mansion. Batman of course was unaware that Damian had been born, because the League of Assassins and Talia and Ra's al Ghul had kept it from him.
Don't look so stunned, Father. I thought you'd be taller.
And in Son of Batman, the film adaptation of this story, Damian is pretty bloodthirsty, but Batman manages to curb his deadly instincts.
It's easier my way.
It has nothing to do with easy. It's about doing what's right because it's right, and that's the only reason you need.
In the comic, however, Batman locks Damian Wayne in his room to go out and fight crime, and Damian thinks this is Batman's way of testing him, so he breaks out of his room and kills the criminal that Batman is after, the Spook. He then brings the severed head of said criminal back to the Batcave as a trophy to show Batman. And much like a cat presenting its owner with a dead bird, this doesn't go down well and disgusts Batman.
What have you done?
What have you done?
But this kill is probably the most important of Damian's life, because it's not only Batman who's meeting Damian Wayne for the first time, it's the audience as well. And we are instantly shown that Damian Wayne is highly skilled, deadly, and quite possibly a complete psychopath. And it sets the tone for the character perfectly, and lets us all know what we're in store for. And it also daunts Batman, as he has no idea how he is going to help this kid see the light, when Damian Wayne's response to being sent to his room is to decapitate a supervillain. But Batman doesn't give up on him, which also shows his willpower and his love for his son, who he's only just met but still feels deeply for. And as we all know, this works out quite well in the end for the Bat family, as Damian Wayne eventually becomes Batman's permanent Robin. But because of how it introduces his character and sets up his character arc in the future, it is definitely the most important kill of Damian Wayne's life. And thankfully, it's also one of his last. Number 3. Cagey Beast. Dick Grayson is without a doubt the heir to the Batman cape and cowl. This literally happened in the comics when Batman was thought to be dead, and Dick Grayson took over. Because, in truth, he is the only candidate for the role.
If that's your best Batman, you're not gonna fool anyone, Grayson.
Well, technically the potential heirs are Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Damian Wayne. But Jason and Tim don't really want it, and Damian Wayne is way too young to be Batman.
And you're certainly not going to pass for Batman, short stack.
Who the hell are you?
So that leaves Dick Grayson, but that isn't the only reason he's the one who's going to be the next Batman. It's also because he was raised by Batman, he has the skill and the drive to be Batman, and most importantly, he has the moral compass. Being a superhero isn't easy, and resisting the urge to kill your enemy when they're doing the most horrific of things right in front of you is extremely difficult. Well, unless you're in a Zack Snyder film, of course. But out of the 4 candidates, Dick Grayson has the best moral compass and the best conscience. And in many respects, knowing the difference between right and wrong is what makes a true hero. But even Dick Grayson has killed in the comics, and the most important kill for him is Cagey Beast. In a future edition of the Grayson comic book, Dick Grayson and his love Huntress are working for the then president of Russia, Cagey Beast, to help save Russia from parademons. And it seems like a noble mission, which it is, so Dick Grayson is fine stopping these parademons from invading Russia and of course the world. But the president uses this distraction to kill a village of innocent people, whose only crime is speaking out against the president, who kills villages of people just for speaking out. So though it may be dumb to speak out against him, it is understandable. And Dick Grayson goes to the village and sees all the dead bodies and the destruction that the president has wrought. So when Grayson is presented a medal by this sick man, right after all this has happened, something inside of him breaks, and he kills Cagey Beast with his bare hands. Why he does it in such a public way is the question, but Cagey Beast rarely leaves his secret bunker of safety, as was mentioned in the comic. And though Dick Grayson could probably find it and break into it quite easily, I think that Dick Grayson wanted to get caught, because even when Dick Grayson loses it, he won't break his belief in justice, and he'll confess to his crime and face the punishment, just as Bruce Wayne would. But in this particular instance, Dick Grayson isn't thinking clearly, as he's just reacting to seeing Cagey Beast as an evil dictator and mass murderer that has manipulated Dick Grayson into helping him slaughter innocent people. And he wants to stop KGB fast before he has a chance to shed any more blood. And I also don't think Grayson would be able to live with himself if he walked away from his part in this scot-free, because even though he didn't know, he still feels like an accessory to the crime. And this kill is on this list because breaking Dick Grayson's moral code is not an easy feat, though unfortunately this does lead to Dick Grayson being executed for murder. Number 2. The Gangsters' Lieutenants. The film Batman Under the Red Hood features a host of killings by the Red Hood, and in truth, the whole film deserves to be on this list. But the kill that is officially being picked is when he kills the lieutenants of all the big drug dealers in Gotham, and then throws a duffel bag full of their decapitated heads down to their bosses.
Those are the heads of all your lieutenants. That took me 2 hours. You want to see what I can get done in a whole evening?
He does this to show the dealers that he is a very serious and very deadly threat, and if he can get to all of their lieutenants that easily and kill them all without them even knowing about it, well then he can easily kill them and anyone they know and love. It's a badass moment that shows how skilled and ruthless the Red Hood is, and it shows this to both the dealers and to the audience, because just like before with Damian Wayne, we're being introduced to the Red Hood for the first time. And this act shows you exactly the kind of person he is, especially when he follows it up by saying,
You stay away from kids in schoolyards. No dealing to children, got it? If you do, you're dead.
So he may not mind killing a dozen or so guys in a gang, but innocent kids are a different story. So we know what he will do and we know what he won't do. He's not a hero, but he is definitely a candidate to be an anti-hero. And though we're learning how deadly and skilled he is, we're also seeing how smart he is, as he was able to uncover all of their lieutenants, learn their ways enough to track them, and then kill them all without anyone knowing in a 2-hour window. And that is an insane level of reconnaissance, surveillance and planning. He may be a killer, but he's got brain power and he's got tactical thinking as well. And a lot of balls to do this to some of the most dangerous men in Gotham, which is of course the deadliest city in America, and quite possibly the world. And we learn all of this from him just tossing down the bag full of heads. It's impressive, and it clearly shows us exactly who the Red Hood is, and that's why it's the most important kill of Jason Todd. Number 1. The Joker. This may actually be the best supervillain death in a film, or at least an animated film. It is beautiful in a very twisted way. The Joker has kidnapped, tortured and brainwashed Tim Drake into thinking that he is a Joker Jr., that he's basically the son of Harley Quinn and the Joker, though of course he's just been tortured and drugged into thinking this. And the Joker wants to prove to them all just how broken Tim Drake is by having him kill Batman. And Batman is so heartbroken at seeing Tim Drake and feeling like he is the one who let him down that he doesn't even try to stop him. And Tim Drake genuinely could have killed Batman in this moment. And you can see in Tim Drake's eyes that he is fighting the urge, and then the manic laughter starts as he breaks against the urges Joker has pummeled into his brain. And you feel for him so much as he struggles, and then you feel so happy when he overcomes what the Joker has done to him and shoots the Joker instead. It's messed up in so many ways, but it makes for a damn good death scene, which is why this comes in at the number 1 spot as the best Robin murder. And it does make sense that the number 1 Robin murder would of course be a Joker death scene. Well, technically 2 death scenes. There is the one version when Tim Drake shoots him and impales him with the gun's gag flag, killing him. But in the other version, Joker falls backwards and slips, pulling a lever and electrocuting himself to death. And presumably this is the same lever he pulled to torture Tim Drake in an earlier scene, giving it a poetic sort of justice to its death. Though personally I still prefer him dying from the shot wound. And that is the 5 best murders committed by the Robins. Which one of these was your favourite Robin murder? And are there any other murders committed by the Robins that you think should have been on this list as well? Be sure to let us know in the comments. And I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those who made this video possible by donating to the Needlemass Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.